Don't share a single detail about your finances with anyone. Not your neighbor, not your family, not even the closest friend you've trusted for decades. I say this with complete seriousness. What I'm about to share could be the most crucial information you hear all year. And yes, I understand how dramatic that sounds. But let me ask you something. If you've spent your entire life working, saving every dollar with discipline, and sacrificing moments so that you could secure a future for yourself and those you love, don't you deserve to protect that? Don't you deserve to ensure that no one strips away what you've built? Here's the reality. 2025 will not look like 2024. The rules are changing beneath our feet, and most people won't see it coming until it's too late. That's why I need you to pay close attention, to understand the forces at play before I reveal the update that makes everything crystal clear. You see, information alone isn't enough. Understanding it, preparing for it, is what will protect you when the unexpected hits. Let's start with a question. Where are you listening from right now? Drop the name of your city in the comments. I want to see seniors from every corner of the world speaking up, because this warning applies to everyone. And while you're at it, like this video and subscribe, because the information here may very well keep you a step ahead of the majority who are blind to what's coming. Let me share a truth few people will say aloud. Money doesn't just test intelligence, it tests wisdom. And wisdom isn't about knowing facts. It's about preparing for what others cannot yet see. The future will be unusual. Strange things are coming. But weird doesn't have to mean terrifying if you are ready. Imagine a man named Thomas. He spent his life in Michigan, working in a small manufacturing plant. Thomas never chased luxury. He lived modestly, saved consistently, and invested carefully. His friends knew he was doing well. That knowledge, though, was his greatest vulnerability. Because when hardships arose, when expenses increased and uncertainty spread, people looked at Thomas not as a neighbor, not as a friend, but as a solution. Some from need, some from envy, some from expectation. Thomas, who only wanted peace, suddenly found himself exhausted financially, emotionally, spiritually. Why? Because he shared too much. He revealed too many details. Now, listen closely. In 2025, the stakes are far higher. The financial systems you've trusted, retirement accounts, pensions, savings, are entering an era of volatility. And if people know what you hold, they won't see you as just a neighbor, they'll see you as a resource. I'll explain the trigger behind this in a moment, but you need to set your mind first. Raw information without preparation won't protect you. So, what can you do today? Begin with this principle. Silence is power. Your financial security is like your bloodstream. It isn't meant to be exposed to everyone around you. Protect it. Guard it. And while you guard it, build habits that strengthen resilience. One habit I recommend is using a daily high-impact planner. Even 31 days of structured intention can teach you discipline and clarity. Too many seniors drift into retirement without direction, only to feel lost. Planning doesn't just protect your money, it multiplies purpose. Some of you may ask, why all this urgency? Isn't this just another warning? No. History teaches us that the majority are always blindsided. The 2008 housing crisis, the inflation spikes after the pandemic, most people were unprepared, yet signs were there if they had known where to look. And now, 2025 comes with its own warnings. My promise is simple. By the end of this discussion, you will understand why remaining silent about your finances is not optional, it is essential. Consider a couple in Pennsylvania, Margaret and Robert. They were in their early 70s, saved diligently, and lived frugally. They expected retirement to bring peace, but one oversight nearly destroyed them. They shared too much. Their children knew exactly how much they had. Extended family knew. Even friends from their church knew. So when bills rose and people struggled, they turned to Margaret and Robert. Generosity is a blessing, but exposure is dangerous. Once others think you are stable, you may find yourself the target of their desperation. This is not paranoia, it's reality. The year 2025 will magnify this danger. Rising costs, economic instability, and human desperation will converge. If people know what you hold, they will look to you first. This is why silence isn't selfish, is wisdom. Silence is protection, silence is survival. And yet, silence alone is insufficient. Wisdom must accompany it. 2025 will challenge more than money. It will challenge your discernment, your ability to remain calm when everyone around you panics. Have you noticed how conversations around money are changing? Younger generations post everything: crypto, side hustles, investments, debts. Everyone broadcasts their financial life. For you, especially if you are in your 60s, 70s, or older, sharing is exposure. Every detail revealed makes you more visible, more vulnerable. Ask yourself honestly, have you ever felt pressured to disclose more than you wanted? Have you sensed people acting differently because they believed you had more than them? If so, you are not alone, and it is precisely this social and emotional pressure that can undermine your strength in the year ahead. The greatest risk isn't always technology, it's human behavior. Fear, desperation, and envy will drive people to target those they perceive as secure. If you appear safe financially, you will attract attention. In 2025, this pressure will multiply, and here's the suspense. Once I reveal the update at the end, you'll understand exactly why keeping your finances private could be the difference between peace and crisis. Let's examine another scenario. Consider George, a retired schoolteacher in Florida. George was careful with money, disciplined, and thoughtful, but he liked to talk. He would casually mention how well he had saved or how stable his pension was. His openness, intended to inspire or educate, became a liability. When neighbors or friends faced hardships, they remembered his confidence, and they came to him repeatedly, draining not only his resources but also his peace. His silence could have been his shield. His words became his weakness. Ask yourself, have you ever revealed too much? If yes, reflect on it now because 2025 will not forgive repeated exposure. The urgent reality is this: 2025 will test your financial security and your relationships. Your money is more than numbers, it represents freedom, dignity, and stability. When those are threatened, panic spreads fast, often faster than any economic indicator. History shows this. The 2008 crash, the pandemic shortages, the inflation spikes, panic never waits. And when it spreads, people search for safety. They look for those who appear prepared. They look for those who are visible. And if you've disclosed too much, you become the first target. So here is your challenge: silence. Protect what you've built. Do not broadcast your financial reality. Guard your resources as you would your health. Use discipline, structure, and prayer to fortify your mind. Create routines that strengthen resilience. Anchoring yourself spiritually, mentally, and emotionally will help you withstand pressures that 2025 will impose. If you have been disciplined and silent, you are already ahead of 90% of your peers. But 2025 will redefine the rules. Those who are careless, even for a moment, may pay dearly. Ask yourself this: if your Social Security check were delayed tomorrow, or if unexpected bills rose sharply, how long could you endure before others leaned on you? How would it feel if they assumed you had more than you do? This is why silence is not just prudent, it is essential. Visibility equals vulnerability. Sharing too much now could compromise everything you've worked for. And that is why the update I will reveal at the end is so urgent. It explains why discretion about your finances will be your greatest shield. Now, imagine the pressure intensifying. Every conversation becomes a potential threat. People will come to you not out of friendship, but out of need or expectation. They will measure you by what they think you have, not by who you are. And in 2025, that perception alone can dictate your reality. Consider Helen, a retired nurse in Ohio. Helen had spent decades saving, contributing to her pension, and living frugally. She always wanted to help people in need, but when she shared details about her finances, even casually, she became a magnet for requests. Neighbors, friends, and even distant relatives assumed she had an abundance and turned to her repeatedly. Helen found herself exhausted not because she lacked resources, but because her openness made her a target. This is the truth you need to understand. Knowledge of your finances must be guarded. It is no longer a matter of etiquette or privacy. It is survival. And the forces at play in 2025 are unlike anything you've seen before. The systems you've relied upon, banks, pensions, retirement accounts, Social Security, are entering an era of unpredictability. Policies are shifting. Reporting systems are changing. Digital monitoring of wealth is accelerating. What was once private is now at risk of becoming visible to those who may exploit it. And once others know, your advantage disappears. Ask yourself, how many people truly know your financial reality? Your children, your close friends, even distant acquaintances. Too many knowing can be dangerous. Too few knowing is your protection. Write this down in your journal or planner. Who knows too much? What would happen if desperation strikes and they turn to you first? The answer will reveal vulnerabilities you might not have even considered. And let me be clear, this is not paranoia. History is proof. Whenever systems strain and uncertainty rises, human behavior changes instantly. Those who appear safe become magnets for requests, expectations, and sometimes envy. Let's examine another scenario. George, whom I mentioned earlier, wasn't careless. He was cautious, but his habit of casually revealing numbers became a liability. His neighbors remembered when costs soared. When inflation affected daily life, they sought his help. And in 2025, that pressure will intensify. Rising costs of living, delays in pensions, and shifts in financial systems mean that even a single hint of abundance can draw attention. It isn't generosity that is dangerous, it is visibility. This is why silence matters more than ever. But silence alone isn't enough. You must also cultivate wisdom. 2025 will test not only your finances but your judgment, your discernment, your ability to remain composed when others panic. Faith becomes a stabilizer. Prayer becomes a tool of clarity. Discipline becomes a shield. One practice I recommend is anchoring your daily life in structure. Plan each day. Write down intentions. Ask for discernment. These habits fortify not only your financial resilience, but your emotional and spiritual resilience. In the storm of 2025, it is these elements combined that will protect you. Consider another example, a man named Leonard in Texas. Leonard was careful, frugal, and diligent. He never spoke of his savings, his investments, or his pension. For years, he avoided discussing finances even with close friends. When crises hit, price surges, unexpected bills, or social pressures, he remained untouched. His silence, paired with careful planning and spiritual grounding, became a shield. Compare this to someone equally prepared financially, but more open with information. The difference is stark. Exposure makes you a target. Invisibility grants security. Now, let's address the critical reality of human behavior. In times of fear, scarcity, or economic strain, people do not act logically. They act out of emotion. Desperation spreads like wildfire. Those who appear safe financially become the first point of contact, the assumed solution, and sometimes the object of envy. Every detail you reveal about your money, even a small one, can be used against you. This is why in 2025, discretion is no longer optional. It is a survival strategy. Ask yourself this: if tomorrow costs rose dramatically, if unexpected bills appeared, how many people in your life would turn to you first? If they believed you had more than you truly do, would you be ready to withstand their pressure? Write your answer down. Be honest with yourself. Understanding your visibility is the first step to controlling it. And the first step to controlling it is committing to silence, paired with preparation and strategic planning. Let me illustrate the scale of this threat. Imagine a nationwide event: pensions delayed, social security checks postponed, prices spiking across groceries, healthcare, and utilities. Panic spreads fast. People look for the strongest, the most prepared, the most stable. And if your financial reality has been visible, you become the target. Now, factor in human nature. Fear, envy, and desperation drive actions. People will look for solutions outside themselves. And 2025 will create a perfect storm of need and assumption. Only those who maintain discretion will navigate it safely. This is why preparation goes beyond money. It is about mental resilience, emotional strength, and spiritual grounding. A disciplined routine, daily planning, reflection, and prayer will give you the clarity needed to navigate chaos. Those who neglect these aspects, even with substantial savings, will find themselves unprepared for the social pressures and expectations that arise. 2025 will not wait for you to catch up. It will test everything you have built and how wisely you guard it. Let's focus on practical action. Tonight, identify 3 areas where your financial visibility is too high. Perhaps you share too much with family, neighbors, or even close friends. Perhaps you post financial information online. Perhaps you discuss your savings casually in conversation. Write these down. Then ask yourself, what would happen if those who know most became desperate tomorrow? This exercise is more than a reflection. It is a preventative measure. Understanding where you are vulnerable is the first step in protecting yourself. And remember, this isn't about mistrust or selfishness. It's about survival in a changing landscape. Loving your family and helping others is noble, but giving away your position of security is dangerous. Visibility is exposure. Discretion is protection. And 2025 will make this distinction more crucial than ever. Consider the technological layer of this risk. In 2025, systems will increasingly monitor, track, and reveal financial information. Digital currencies, financial apps, and reporting protocols will make what was once private increasingly visible. Even casual sharing or seemingly innocuous hints can compromise your security. In an environment like this, silence becomes a shield, a strategy, and ultimately a necessity. Ask yourself again, how many people truly know your financial reality? Your children, your siblings, your friends, even your neighbors. Too many knowing is dangerous. Too few knowing is protective. Write it down. Make a plan. Pray for wisdom. Develop a structure for your day, your finances, and your decisions. The storms of 2025 will not only challenge money, they will challenge judgment, discernment, and emotional composure. Only those who combine silence with wisdom, discipline, and faith will emerge unscathed. Now, let's take a step further. Imagine it's 2025, and suddenly a disruption hits: a pension freeze, a social security delay, a surge in costs. People panic. They search for the strongest, the most prepared, the most visible. Those who spoke too freely about their stability become the first targets. Desperation magnifies exposure. Every revealed detail can be exploited. Every moment of carelessness can lead to loss. This is why silence, paired with preparation, is your greatest defense. Reflect on this. What would it feel like to know that no one, not even your closest friend, could leverage your financial reality against you? How much freer would you feel? How much more secure? Use your daily planner or journal to write down the names of those who know too much, and consider what would happen if their needs collided with your stability. This simple exercise is a preventative shield. The human element cannot be ignored. Desperation drives behavior. Fear spreads faster than logic. And in 2025, these forces will align with financial instability, creating unprecedented pressure. Silence protects. Wisdom guides. Faith anchors. Discipline fortifies. The combination of these is what will allow you to navigate the year safely. Now, let's dive deeper into why 2025 is unlike any year before. The rules are shifting. The systems you rely on are under unprecedented strain, and the human factor is intensifying. Money alone is no longer the measure of security, it's visibility. How many people know your financial reality, who assumes you are safe? Because in a crisis, assumptions drive behavior. Those who appear secure, those who are too visible, become the first to be sought out. And once you've revealed too much, there's no undoing it. Consider the story of Eleanor, a retired librarian in New York. Eleanor had saved prudently her entire life. She contributed to her retirement accounts, lived modestly, and built a modest but stable nest egg. She loved to share advice and often discussed her successes with friends. When a local economic shock hit, people remembered her confidence and sought her assistance. Her savings didn't vanish, but her peace, her energy, her sense of control, was drained. In 2025, the stakes are far higher. The margin for error is smaller. Exposure can cost not only money, but dignity, freedom, and tranquility. You see, preparation without silence is incomplete. Many seniors plan carefully, but speak too freely. They reveal their stability, their investments, their monthly income. They believe generosity is harmless, that sharing will be appreciated, but history and human nature prove otherwise. When fear and desperation spread, those who know you are strong, stable, or financially secure become magnets. They are approached first, pressured repeatedly, and sometimes resented. In 2025, the convergence of rising costs, pension strain, and social pressures will magnify this effect. Let's consider another scenario. James and Linda, a couple in Colorado, retired with moderate savings. They had carefully invested and followed a disciplined routine, but they shared details of their savings with extended family, believing it would inspire responsibility. When unexpected economic pressures hit their community, relatives turned to them repeatedly. James and Linda weren't unkind. They wanted to help, but the relentless requests drained their resources and peace. If they had maintained silence, they would have preserved both. This is the harsh reality of 2025. Exposure is dangerous, and discretion is protection. Ask yourself, how often do you casually mention your financial status? How many people are aware of your savings, pensions, or investments? Too many knowing is risky. Too few knowing is your protection. Tonight, take a moment and write this down. List those who know too much. Consider what would happen if these people were desperate tomorrow. This reflection is not paranoia. It is strategy. It is the first step to guarding your financial stability in the year ahead. Now, let's address human behavior further. Panic spreads faster than logic. Fear is contagious. When costs rise, when benefits are delayed, when social systems strain, people look for security outside themselves. They seek the visible, the strong, the prepared. Those who have spoken freely, who have revealed their financial positions, become the first targets. The visible become the vulnerable. The silent remain protected. This is why discretion is not just wise, it is essential for survival. Spiritual resilience complements financial discretion. In 2025, fear and desperation will test not only your money, but your emotional and mental stability. Faith, prayer, and reflective planning provide a stabilizing foundation. Anchoring your days in discipline and clarity, writing intentions, and seeking discernment strengthens your capacity to remain composed. Those who neglect these aspects, even with substantial savings, will be more vulnerable to the pressures and expectations created by human behavior during crises. Consider this practical step. Identify 3 areas where your financial visibility is too high. Perhaps you discuss your savings with family, neighbors, or friends. Perhaps you post online or share anecdotes that hint at stability. Write these down. Then imagine the consequences if those who know most were in desperate situations tomorrow. This exercise is more than reflection, it is a proactive strategy. Understanding where you are vulnerable is the first step to protecting yourself in 2025. Now, let's explore a more subtle layer of risk, the digital landscape. In 2025, reporting systems, financial apps, and digital currencies will make it easier for others to track and reveal your wealth. What was once private can become visible without your consent. Casual sharing, even in social circles or online communities, can compromise your security. This is why silence is no longer optional. It is your strategy, your shield, your survival mechanism. Discretion must be paired with vigilance, structure, and spiritual grounding. Ask yourself again, how many people truly know your financial reality? Too many knowing is dangerous. Too few knowing protects you. Write it down, plan for it. Build routines that strengthen resilience, mental clarity, and emotional composure. Pray for wisdom and guidance. In 2025, these practices will be as important as your financial planning. Visibility invites requests, pressure, and sometimes resentment. The invisible, disciplined, and prepared navigate chaos safely. Now, consider the potential consequences of exposure. Prices of essentials food, healthcare, utilities may rise sharply. Social security or pension payments may be delayed. Those who have revealed too much will be sought out repeatedly. Generosity becomes a pressure. Kindness becomes an obligation. Exposure, even with good intentions, transforms into vulnerability. Those who maintain discretion, silence, and structure will preserve their resources, peace, and dignity. Think about it. What would it feel like to know that no one, not even your closest friend, could use your financial reality against you? How much lighter would you feel? How much freer? Tonight, write it down in a journal or daily planner. Ask yourself, who knows too much, and what would happen if they became desperate? This exercise is a preventive shield, a strategy to protect yourself against the pressures that 2025 will bring. The human element cannot be ignored. In times of stress, people act irrationally. Fear spreads faster than reason. Those perceived as safe or wealthy are the first points of attention. Discretion protects, faith anchors, discipline fortifies, wisdom guides. The combination of these elements allows you to withstand pressures that will escalate dramatically in 2025. Here's a challenge. Tonight, write down 3 actions you can take to reduce your financial visibility. Perhaps redirect conversations, perhaps deflect questions, perhaps prepare protective answers. Then pray over them. Ask for courage to remain silent, wisdom to guard your truth, and strength to stay disciplined when others panic. Because when others seek lifelines, you cannot afford to be the first one they rely on, unless you are prepared to bear the burden. Now, let's consider another story. Martin, a retired engineer in California. Martin was meticulous with his finances, saving for decades. He lived modestly but discussed his stability openly with his social circle. When a local economic disruption hit, requests poured in, some from family, some from neighbors, some from casual acquaintances. Martin's savings weren't depleted, but his energy, time, and peace were severely impacted. Had he maintained discretion, he would have preserved both financial security and personal tranquility. The lesson is clear. In 2025, silence is essential. Exposure brings vulnerability. Those who reveal too much will be the first targets of human expectation, desperation, and sometimes envy. 2025 is not a year to test generosity at the cost of security. Discretion is protection. Discipline is a shield. Faith is a stabilizer. Together, they form a foundation to navigate a year that will test not only your money but your mental, emotional, and spiritual resilience. Now, let's address the pivotal reality. 2025 will change how money, security, and visibility interact. The systems we've relied upon, banks, pensions, retirement accounts, are becoming more transparent in ways most people don't yet grasp. Algorithms, reporting mechanisms, and digital tracking technologies are quietly creating a landscape where financial stability can be observed, measured, and potentially targeted. Those who are careless with their information risk exposure. Those who guard it wisely will maintain their security, peace, and independence. Take the example of Susan, a retired teacher in Florida. Susan was diligent about saving. She had a modest pension and a stable retirement fund. She enjoyed helping people, but she never disclosed the details of her finances. When a local economic disruption occurred, she remained unaffected, not because the world around her was stable, but because her financial information remained invisible. Contrast this with someone equally prepared financially but more open. Exposure transforms security into vulnerability. In 2025, this difference could be the line between maintaining independence and being overwhelmed by demands from every direction. The human factor compounds these systemic risks. When fear and uncertainty rise, logic diminishes. People instinctively look to those who appear prepared. Those who have shared their stability become targets. Those who maintain discretion navigate the storm unscathed. This is why silence is no longer optional. It is a survival strategy, and it isn't only about withholding numbers. It's about controlling the narrative, the perception, and the assumptions others make about your capacity to provide. Ask yourself, how many people truly know your financial reality? Too many knowing puts you at risk. Too few knowing offers protection. Write this down. List those who know too much. Then imagine if they faced desperate circumstances tomorrow. This is not fear-mongering, it is strategic foresight. Understanding potential vulnerabilities allows you to act before circumstances force you into compromise. Consider the scenario of an unexpected pension delay. Your Social Security or retirement payments are temporarily frozen. Essentials become more expensive. Panic spreads. Neighbors, relatives, friends, they look to those who appear stable first. Those who spoke freely about their finances, who revealed more than they should, face immediate pressure. Their stability may not disappear, but their peace, autonomy, and energy will be tested. Those who remain silent, disciplined, and prepared will retain the upper hand. Let's explore another layer: technology. In 2025, digital currencies, financial apps, and reporting systems are evolving rapidly. Previously private accounts and transactions will be easier to track. Platforms are being designed to link, measure, and sometimes broadcast financial stability. Even casual discussions, posts, or small disclosures can create vulnerability. Silence, therefore, becomes a protective strategy. Discretion is no longer just about privacy, it is about survival in a landscape where visibility can attract attention, pressure, and expectations. Now, consider the spiritual and emotional component. In 2025, preparation must extend beyond finances. Mental clarity, emotional resilience, and spiritual grounding are essential. Anchoring your day in disciplined planning, journaling, and reflection strengthens your capacity to respond calmly when the world around you panics. Prayer and discernment provide stability when fear drives others to make irrational decisions. Those who neglect these aspects may have money, but they will lack the composure needed to protect it. Here's a practical exercise. Tonight, identify 3 ways your financial visibility is too high. Perhaps you share too much with family, perhaps with friends, perhaps online. Write it down. Imagine the consequences if those individuals were desperate tomorrow. Consider your response. This isn't about distrust, it is about strategic survival. Understanding your exposure and acting to control it is the first step toward securing your peace in 2025. Now, let's discuss the real consequences of exposure. Prices of necessities may rise rapidly. Food, healthcare, utilities, social security, and pension delays will stress households. Those who reveal their financial situation openly will be the first sought out. Generosity, while noble, becomes a burden when accompanied by visibility. Kindness, when combined with exposure, can transform into obligation. Discretion ensures you can help when appropriate, but remain protected from undue pressure. Imagine the freedom of knowing that no one, not even your closest friend, can leverage your financial reality against you. How much lighter would life feel? How much more secure? Use a journal or planner to write down the names of those who know too much and consider the potential consequences of their desperation. This simple act is not paranoia, it is prevention. It is a shield against the pressures 2025 will bring. Consider this. Human behavior is unpredictable, especially in times of crisis. Fear spreads faster than logic. Those perceived as secure become targets. Those who reveal too much become exposed. Discipline, wisdom, and faith provide protection. Silent preparation creates an advantage that cannot be replicated by those who talk freely. In 2025, these factors will determine who maintains independence and who becomes vulnerable to social pressures. Here's a challenge. Tonight, list 3 actions to reduce your financial visibility. Perhaps redirect conversations, perhaps prepare protective answers, perhaps avoid sharing numbers unnecessarily. Pray over your list. Ask for the courage to remain silent, the wisdom to protect what you've built, and the discipline to follow through when others panic. When people seek lifelines, you must decide whether you are prepared to be that lifeline or whether you will protect your own stability first. Now, the urgent 2025 updates the moment you've been preparing for. Here is what you need to understand. In 2025, wealth is becoming visible in unprecedented ways. Systems are emerging: digital reporting, monitoring algorithms, and financial platforms that can reveal where resources are concentrated. Those who appear secure will be visible targets, regardless of intent. And in a world where fear, scarcity, and rising costs collide, visibility invites pressure, requests, and sometimes exploitation. This is why silence is essential. Consider past patterns. In previous financial disruptions, 2008 housing collapse, post-pandemic inflation, those who revealed too much were the first to feel pressure. Now, in 2025, these pressures will escalate. Digital monitoring increases transparency. Social pressures multiply as costs rise and systems strain. Exposure, even from well-meaning conversations, becomes a liability. Maintaining discretion is no longer just prudent, it is vital. Ask yourself, how many people know the details of your finances? Children, family, friends, neighbors? Too many knowing is risky. Too few knowing protects you. Write it down. Then imagine a scenario where these individuals are desperate tomorrow. Your reaction and your safeguards will determine how much protection you retain. This is not theoretical. It is a real, actionable survival strategy for 2025. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about distrust or selfishness. Generosity remains noble. Care for your family and community is important. But revealing financial details, even to well-meaning individuals, transforms security into vulnerability. In 2025, those who talk too freely may find their independence compromised. Those who maintain discretion, coupled with strategic preparation, will emerge resilient, safe, and independent. Finally, reflect on the spiritual dimension. Financial threats are real, but human behavior, fear, and panic compound the challenge. Discipline, planning, and prayer are essential. Anchoring your life in these practices ensures composure, clarity, and wisdom when systems strain. 2025 is not just a financial challenge, it is a test of judgment, resilience, and foresight. Those who combine discretion with preparation, wisdom, and faith will navigate it successfully. In summary, silence is your shield, visibility is risk, exposure invites pressure. Discretion, combined with planning, faith, and resilience, ensures survival. The urgent 2025 update reveals that wealth will no longer be hidden. Systems are evolving, human behavior will intensify, and those who reveal too much risk not only their money, but their peace and dignity. Maintain silence. Protect your truth. Plan daily. Pray, prepare. This is the critical truth. 2025 changes everything. What was once private may now be visible. What was once safe may now attract attention. Generosity remains a virtue, but exposure transforms it into vulnerability. Discipline, discretion, and faith are your greatest assets. Protect them, guard them. And remember, the moment others know your financial reality, the advantage disappears. The storm is coming, but those who are prepared, silent, and wise will navigate it safely.